How y'all doing? We are back with another powerful episode with Black Owl. This is episode 6, if I'm not mistaken. I'm here sitting with Key. You know, y'all know when we together, man, we go crazy with the information, man. So I hope y'all got y'all popcorn, like always, and let's go and get started. What we talking about today, Key?
So today we are going to be talking about earnest money deposits. We're going to be talking about closing costs, seller concessions, and I believe it's on the top of my head.
We'll get the flow.
Okay, yeah.
It'll come
I'm about
to
say
us naturally.
It's on the top of my head for sure.
We gonna flow like water. So you said earnest money.
Okay.
Talk to me. What is earnest money? You know, when I'm doing my buyer's consultation on my clients, they always asking, okay, what is this money? What am I doing with this money? So what's your perspective on earnest money?
So earnest money deposit is considered your AKA EMD, and it's like anywhere between 1% to 3% of you putting down that money of the total purchase price. So example, if the purchase price was to be $300,000, you would put $3,000 down. But it depends on the market you're in. So sometimes it's 1%, sometimes it can go up to as much as 3%. Again, it just really depends on the market and what it calls for. In the seller's market, I believe that they will require a higher EMD. In a buyer's market, you can do your 1% down. So in that situation, this is just really required because at this point, the sellers want to see that you're serious. Not only do your sellers want to see that you're serious, but also your realtor. Your realtor wants to know that, okay, you're willing to put this amount down to show that you're serious about, making this purchase.
Right.
So the reality of it is when, this goes in a contract, the listing agents obviously and the sellers, they go over it and they see that, okay, this person put this amount down to prove that they're serious about moving forward with purchasing this home.
No, I agree. You're totally right. The standard is 1% of the purchase price. What's crazy, Key, I have closed a deal with D.R. Horton, and my clients put $100 down.
Really?
Earnest money. Yep. So sometimes the builders, they do things like that, specials. It's very rare, but sometimes they do specials just depending on what they're trying to do and what their quarter they're trying to meet. But D.R. Horton, they did $100 down earnest money, and it's crazy. My clients jumped on it. They was like, oh, I need this. It's $100.
You know what? I think that day we were out together. I think we were at D.R. Horton and they was offering $100.
Yep. It was around that time.
Yeah, it was around that time. And I think Kalina Homes was doing $1.
$1, yep.
Yeah, so actually it can be lower. You quote me, I'm quoting myself wrong, but yeah, I mean, typically, like you said, 1% for sure.
Yeah, you didn't quote it wrong.
New
it's
builders,
standard.
Standard.
Yeah.
But new builders do normally have that. They have because this is totally different.
Right.
But we have Texas Real Estate Commission, and then we have builders. Builders have their own contracts.
Right.
Texas Real Estate Commission is for the state.
Right.
For the state of Texas. So builders do their own thing, Trek do their own thing. But when you're dealing with Trek paperwork, normally it's 1%.
Right.
When you're dealing with the builders do what they want to do.
No, I agree.
They have their own contracts.
And just to tap, because I done had clients, it's like, okay, where's this money going?
So sorry.
That earnest money goes towards your down payment, your cost to close. So when you're at the title company, they're gonna implement that earnest money that you put down, and they're gonna add all the other fees and things in that nature when you're at the title company. So yeah, earnest money is basically put your money where your mouth is. That seller wants to know how serious you are, so show them how serious you are. Yes, Lord.
Yeah. So now that we've discussed the earnest money deposit, we can jump right into, I guess, closing costs. Let's do seller concession.
Okay, yeah, seller concession is my specialty, I done had a resale deal where I had to negotiate with the listing agent and get with the seller to have something called seller's concession, and that's to help towards the buyer to complete the whole deal.
Okay.
It's a benefit. And some of the sellers make it sweet for you. Sometimes they'll let you know when you call them on our end and be like, hey, we're offering 15,000 seller concessions to your buyer. Hope that's appealing to your buyer. If it is, come on, let's get this deal done.
Got you. So like, for example, if you were to do FHA, I think it's the total concessions you can get is up to 6%, and if you're doing conventional, it's 3%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so you can, a lot of the times, you know, like you said, those are credits. Same thing, closing costs. We're about to jump into that, but that is that goes towards. You can put that towards your closing costs.
Right.
Like you said, rate buy downs.
Right.
Any other type of fees that are, you know, that help them, as long as it's not towards the down payment.
Oh yeah. No, the
You
down.
can't put any,
You can't put anything behind a down payment unless you VA. You paying some down payment, and typically down payment with FHA would be 3.5%. So keep that note. You know, if you have at least 10,500, because the average price point on the market right now is 300,000. When you times that by 3.5%, that'll be $10,500.
Right. Okay. So
Yes,
I
Lord.
remember what I wanted to discuss earlier. I
Talk to
wanted
me.
to talk about the buyer's representation agreement.
Oh yes, very important, very important. And I want to make this note: I personally would not take no client out unless we sign that buyer rep. And I think they just made a law, if I'm not mistaken, where we have to have that signed before we even show the property.
Yeah, before you show the property. It's also in hard whenever you try to schedule an appointment to show a home. They do have it in a disclosure on the app that you have to have a buyer's representation agreement in place before you can actually show a client a home. So
Right.
that is true, a buyer a home.
Right.
Yeah.
And the buyer rep is just typically explaining our loyalty towards the client. That's what I always explain to my client. Once we sign this buyer rep, oh, my loyalty goes to the roof. I'm already loyal to you. Don't get it twisted. But it's law now.
Yeah, we
You know
have
what I mean?
contracts,
Yeah, it's
right?
a contract. You know, nothing in real estate is valid unless it's in writing.
For sure. And that's another thing I want to touch base on. Like you said, going over loyalty, but also disclosing your fees.
Right.
You know, the commission is right in that document, so they'll know exactly what they're being paid for. I mean, what they're paying you for. Also, you know, again, the duty that you have to them, and let alone how you're going to guide them throughout the whole process.
Right.
Because you can negotiate on their behalf. You can do a lot of things for them on their behalf.
Right.
Being as though you represent them now.
Right.
So they are a client now.
It's full disclosure. Like, I'm doing a deal right now. I'm under contract, and the builder is giving me $3,000 bonuses.
Okay.
Now, I just spoke to my compliance team, and they just kind of told me that, hey, we would have to have a revised buyer rep explaining that I'm getting that $3,000, and my buyer has to sign that. It's just full disclosure on what's going on with the deal.
Correct. Okay.
I think it's very vital.
Okay. Hello. So we talked about seller concessions. We talked about the buyer's representation agreement. We talked about we touched a little bit on closing costs. So let's just jump a little bit more into closing costs.
Okay. Closing costs can range from 2 to 4% of the purchase price. All right. So that means if the house is what, 300,000, what's that, 6,000, 2%?
Yeah.
And that's all the title fees, insurance fees, and things of that nature. And for the title company to do the transaction, they got to get paid too. So I explained to my clients that you will be paying that, but with these builders, sometimes they have those incentives where they would pay that closing cost for you. I just did a deal. What was this deal in New Caney?
Okay.
It was in New Caney, and the builder paid the full closing cost for my buyer. She was VA, so she got a house with little to no money. Like literally. No down payment.
I'm about to say, VAs don't have to put anything down.
My client was so excited.
So I'm glad you talked about that. I do believe that when, you know, you're trying to get your closing costs and stuff like that, I definitely feel as though people don't know that that's important to get taken care of, because you can actually come out of pocket with a lot of money if
Right.
you're not vouching for closing costs. You don't want to work for a realtor that's not going to try to negotiate on your behalf
Right.
and help put money back into your pockets and or back into your deal.
Right.
So it's a win-win. You know,
Right.
you want your realtor. If I hire somebody to be my realtor and I'm a buyer, I want them to work for me.
Right.
A lot of the times people don't realize that some realtors work for the buyer and the seller.
Right,
Because
right.
they don't. Their goal is to, like, you know, everybody goal in real estate is to make a sale. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? We
right,
want to
right.
we want to close.
Get
We
that-
got to
yeah,
get a
yeah,
check.
yeah, we
But at the
gotta
end of the
get that
day,
money.
you have to be passionate about the client first.
Yeah,
You
you-
know, you have to make sure that you're taking care of your client. Ain't
Right.
nothing better than somebody saying, "Oh, I saved money working with Key,"
Yes,
or "I saved
yes.
money working with
Working with
Jared."
Jared. Come on,
you get what
man.
I'm saying?
Right, right.
If people feeling like I'm dishing out all this money, coming out of pocket with all this money, I'm not
Right.
seeing any help. Why would they want to go back to that same realtor?
Yeah, it speaks volume. You have clients, you have agents that have something called commission break. And it's crazy. I mean, the money is gonna come by default. That's the reality of the field that we in. But it's nothing better than seeing the client eyes when you done fought for them, when you done saved them money, and the smile on their face when they get their keys. Just talking back to that client that was VA, she had no down payment. I negotiated for her to get the closing costs paid. She paid little or no money to get that home.
Yeah.
She was so happy.
Yeah.
So happy, and to me, that speaks hella value.
Yeah. So I would say everybody who's watching this video, always ask your realtor, hey, I move forward with you. What am I gaining from you? What am I getting from you? And you want to hear what they're going to tell you. You want to see if they're going to bring up negotiating. You want to hear if they're going to tell you, hey, we're going to try to get you some seller concessions.
Right.
You know, you want to hear those things. If you're not hearing that, like I said, you may want to, you know, pivot to the next realtor who understands what it takes to be a realtor.
Yeah, man, hire Black Eye, man. Black Eye gonna do their thing for you. I promise you that. Because we already know the money coming. That's not what we're looking for. We're more so of seeing the client happiness and creating value to that client. So hire Black Eye for sure.
Yes. So listen, you guys, if you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this interview or you enjoyed this video, what we want to call it? You want to comment buyer for a buyer's consultation. If you like this video, you also want to subscribe. And what is the other one?
Share it if you love it.
Yep, share it if you love it. Share it for more info. So you guys, we are going to be making sure every time we get this content, you know, we're definitely going to make sure it's raw as possible, but we always going to make sure it's professional too. We're still in our phases of showing our, you know, face, getting comfortable with the camera. So excuse the minor little mishaps, but the good thing about it is that this is raw footage. Oh, yeah. It is going to be edited.
It's authentic.
Yeah, it is going to be edited, but you also going to get our glimpse. You're going to see who we are. You know, personality-wise. We're going to have personality in these videos so that you can understand that, one, we're knowledgeable, but two, we're also human. Right,
and we're authentic. I tell people being authentic is one of the best forces to operate in. So I hope y'all love this authentic-ness from both of us.
Yes.
Y'all stay tuned. Black Owl is in the building.
We out of here.